most people's definition of balance is completely off, and it keeps them stuck in the exact same position even when they feel like they're consistent or doing the right things. Right? For a period of time on my fitness journey and my self-improvement journey, I was, putting in all this effort, investing all my time and energy into, what I thought was a grind, right? Fitness and self-improvement. And the results that I was getting just weren't in correlation to the effort and the time that I was putting in. Right? And I was frustrated, I was angry, I was lost. And I wasn't really sure why until obviously, now looking back on it, it was obvious why. And it was because I was toying with two identities and two versions of myself, right? On one hand, I had this guy who was, obsessed with self-improvement, trying to be better, right? Eating the right foods, staying consistent with the gym, reading, learning, developing my mindset as well, and doing everything I needed to do to elevate on my fitness journey and become the best version of myself. But on the other hand, I would still allow myself to, fall into particular bad habits, right? Doom scrolling, lust, right? All of those kind of things, right? I was still doing all of these things despite me telling myself that I was, trying to level myself up as best as possible. And I convinced myself and thought that just because I'm doing the right things, I'm staying consistent, and I'm putting in all this effort, that I was going to make the progress regardless. And I see this from so many people now. I'm glad that I went through that phase and obviously understood that lesson pretty early on. But I still see it very often where guys will try and just brute force their way through effort and through, the gates to achieving the next result, the next goal, or the next bit of progress thereafter. You have to understand that you will be constantly limiting your potential if you aren't developing yourself, right? Your self-improvement, dropping bad habits, right? And burning the boats, right? And killing the old version of you completely. Because the longer you toy with two identities, right? If you have good habits and bad habits that you're still trying to hold on to, like I said before, you're going to limit your potential, and you just aren't going to progress, because nothing's going to grow your physique, business, work, anything else in your life until you grow. Right? And that was one of the most painful things I had to hear, because, I thought I can get away with it, but it's literally like walking through a desert with chains on your feet, with heavy chains on your feet. Like you can put all this effort in, yeah, you might be trying harder, you might be trying to brute force your way through this desert, but it's going to take you 100 times longer and require 100 times more effort and energy and willpower than if you just burn the things that were holding you back, right? Burn and got rid of the things that were chaining you down in the first place. And the reason I even bring up that analogy in the first place is because most people think that balance means being consistent, doing the effort, doing the bare minimum. But as long as you're putting in the effort, you're going to see the results. But then you're okay to just do all this rubbish as well, fall into bad habits, degeneracy, and do all these things that are massively limiting your potential and holding you back. And I truly believe, from building a great physique and to where I am now, at 19, and the physique I've built and the mindset and the personal development that I've gone through, I can tell you now that, using my fitness and my physique as an example, in order to get here, the balance that I have used has just been 100% tunnel vision on my goals, with that in the forefront of my mind. And, the other side of that just being, just maybe chilling, spending time with family, doing things that don't pull away from that version of you or that goal or cause friction, right? Balance is going 100% now and being 100% committed to your goals and doing anything it requires to get there so you can enjoy the results later, so you can potentially do less in order to maintain that result later. Obviously, do less is, I use that term loosely, it depends what goal you're going after, right? But in some cases, you can not do as much as before. Like fitness, for example, I could go to the gym twice a week and maintain my physique because of the way I train and because of the habits I have in place. It is not trying to just be a degenerate and try and brute force and use all this effort and energy to try and get to where you want to be, because you're just going to get nowhere, right? Despite you putting all this energy in, you're just going to be more frustrated, more overwhelmed, and more in pain, which is exactly where I was, right? So trust me, just the habits you think you can get away with, I thought I could do the same as well, right? I thought I could, as long as I'm consistent, as long as I'm mostly in a positive headspace and doing the right things, I'm going to get there. And the truth is, maybe you can, right? But I'm not waiting, 100 times the length it takes and 100 times the effort and energy when you can just completely re-identify yourself and become a new version of you by dropping the things that are chaining you down. And the reason I hate the term balance, right, and I feel like it destroys a lot of people's mentality and mindset, is because everyone obviously has their own definitions of balance, right? Balance means something else to every person, depending on their situation and, what they've been through and whatnot. But the harsh reality of it and the truth of it is that there's going to be people out there whose definition of balance is to just, like I said, commit 100% and burn the old habits and do everything in their power to achieve that goal so they can enjoy the rewards of it in the future. And if you're someone who thinks that you can compete or get there yourself with, still keeping up those habits, you're going to be massively disappointed, right? You are going to be massively disappointed. And the world only rewards people who are, put themselves in those uncomfortable, pressurized situations where the only way out is to give it 110%, right? And you just got to think that other people who have that mindset and are looking to take everything, and you don't want to be someone who loses out on that opportunity just because, people around you are telling you to, oh, enjoy yourself a bit, do this, it's okay to do this, like, have some more balance. It's like, well, it depends. It really depends on what your goals are and the person you want to become and what you want to achieve, because otherwise, don't listen to anyone who says that, right? Balance is, in my eyes anyway, which is why I'm making this video, because I want to save a lot of people from just feel like they're putting in effort, but like still somehow going backwards and somehow falling behind. And you just see all these people progress in front of you, even when it feels like they're doing the exact same thing as you, and you're just sort of questioning, what am I doing wrong, right? It's because of this, right? And until you grow out of them and you actually make changes, then everything will click. You'll have the clarity you want, and you'll be like, why didn't I just drop that bad habit sooner? Why didn't I just commit more earlier on instead of, sort of putting in all this effort and just letting it go to waste in front of my eyes? And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying you can't have a Nando's now and then if you're trying to get in shape, or you can't spend time with your family when you're trying to build a business or generational wealth. Like, of course you can do those things. But I heard a quote the other day, and I think this sums it up nicely. And it's, everyone wants to be the diamond, but no one wants to get cut, right? And I mean, that's exactly what it sounds like, right? Everyone wants the end result, but no one wants to be shaped, formed, gone through the pain and what it takes to actually create a new identity and go through the trials and the failures and the lessons that you need to go through in order to come out the other side a different person. And no one wants to go through that. And, the traditional meaning of balance, where you can be a degenerate but sort of be consistent towards your goals and expect the world and expect all these results, is just not true. It's ridiculous, right? And it ultimately will completely stunt your progress in anything that you do. So don't let anyone talk you out of your goals. Don't let anyone convince you that what you're doing is too extreme. You do you go after what you want, and, just understand that some people aren't going to want the same things as you are. They're going to think it's weird or extreme. But yeah, You don't need balance if you genuinely enjoy what you do, you genuinely enjoy the work, you genuinely enjoy the process of working towards your goals. Fuck balance, right? Or the traditional term of it, or whatever that means, right? Just you do you. And that being said, I hope you guys took some value from this video for sure. And if you do want one-on-one coaching or you have any questions about anything, check out the description below. You can DM me on Instagram. I'll reach out to you guys and see how I can help answer any of your guys' questions. And that being said, I'll see you guys in the next one.